Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to use the attribute mapping tool to modify and edit and change and move around the applied attributes to these objects. So I've just drawn a few objects with some random attributes. The tool only works on hatches, tiles, gradients, and images. It has to be something that has editable qualities. Solid colors are not editable, nor are patterns. So we're just going to look at the hatches, tiles, and gradients and some images. So the first thing you do is select the attribute mapping tool and then click once on the object that you want to edit. And notice this red line with the two blue bars comes. That is actually the mapping tool. So you can then grab one end and drag it to change the width of the attribute. You can also rotate the attribute to change its orientation. Here, I'll stretch it out again. When you're done editing the attribute, hit the X button or go back over to the 2D selection tool to exit the attribute mapping tool. So I'm going to edit this object over here. So I've clicked on the attribute mapping tool once, and I'll drop the attribute mapping tool on my object. I'm going to zoom in, take a look at this, and do this again. There's my attribute mapping tool. You can see it's pretty small, but if I resize it, watch what happens to the image. The image enlarges. And if I move my cursor to one of the midpoint control handles, I get a rotate cursor. I can rotate the attribute and the image will be rotated as well. So the corner handles resize and the mid handles rotate. So this here is a tile. I'll set the attribute mapping tool. Now the attribute mapping tool appears very large in here because the image is already quite expanded. So if I want to see more of the tile in my object, I'll reduce the size of the attribute mapping tool. It doesn't matter that the attribute mapping tool isn't exactly on the image. You can have this anywhere on your screen. So I can resize that to see more of that. And again, if I want to rotate, I move to one of the side handles and rotate. So you'll notice in some objects when you drop the attribute mapping tool, you get a rectangle that allows you to edit in more planes or in more dimensions. You can also, doing here, you can move through the attributes, and this is a tile. You can position the tile anywhere you'd like on your object, and your object in effect acts as a crop for the image. But you notice when we used here, the gradient only can be edited in on one axis here, so you only get a line. If I drop it on the hatch, you can see I have a couple options for editing it. I can rotate it. I can resize it by grabbing the corners if I want the hatch to appear larger, or I can shrink it down again using the corner with the resize arrow to see more of the hatch. So there you go, a very fast way to customize gradients, images, hatches, and tiles.